It's time for Coach's Corner on KCCR, presented by the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection. Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com is also brought to you by Bank West, Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Todd's Electric, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Shane's Pharmacy, Missouri River Dentistry, CHS River Plains, Edward Jones Financial, Ferding Electric, First Dakota National Bank, Gales Gas, and Lamb Motors. And now, your host for Coach's Corner, John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you inside the KCCR studios for another edition of Coach's Corner, as we've got a good show in store for you as we'll talk playoff football, playoff volleyball, and the start of the hockey season coming up here in today's episode. We will talk with Steve Steele, the head coach of the Pierre Governors. We'll also talk with Linda DeBoer, the head coach of the Miller Rustlers, as the Governors will be playing the 11AA state semifinal on Friday. The Miller Rustlers will be looking for a shot at the Sodak 16 tomorrow night. If they win against Chamberlain, they will be in the Sodak 16 next week, Tuesday. And then we'll also talk with Landon Badger, the head coach of the boys varsity team for the Oahe Capitals, as we are down into the final 2.5 weeks before we get started with our hockey season across the state of South Dakota. And, of course, those games will be on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. So that's upcoming on today's episode here of Coach's Corner as we move into the month of November. We are closing in on those big holidays, and we've got plenty of store sports-wise for you here on a KCCR. We will step aside. We'll come back and sit down and talk with head coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, as we always do every Wednesday evening during the football season. That's coming up next here on Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 30 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agriculture. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. That number again is 223-2518. Todd's Electric Service, serving the Pierre-Fort Pierre area. Todd's Electric Service, the line to power.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined, so y'all can sit here and ask me all the questions y'all want to. I'm going to answer with the same answer, so y'all can shoot if y'all please.
This is Coach's Corner on your home for the Pierre Governors, KCCR, and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, as they get set for the 11AA semifinal coming up on Friday against the Huron Tigers. And Coach, good talking to you again. Let's go back to last Thursday, the game against T in that 41-7 win. You look at maybe just the scoring and the score by quarter. It was a 14-0 lead at halftime, but the Governors were efficient throughout the entire night. Obviously, all the scoring happened in that second half, where you end up, almost getting a run time in the final, couple minutes of that game against T. But you guys were very efficient offensively, with the half ending with your only drive that you didn't score in the first half. The half just ended, and then you punted the ball one other time. Very, very efficient for this offense, and another time that you guys scored 40 points. Biggest takeaway from that win on Thursday?
Yeah, I think overall, full complete win. I thought the offense played well. 6 for 8's very good. It could have been 7 for 8, and defense very, very good. Again, that long drive, they did a great job getting off the field to start the game, and then obviously only giving up the 1 touchdown later in a little bit of a desperation scenario. And special teams had another great game as well. So, that's what you want at this time of the season, and hopefully we have another complete game here on Friday.
And obviously T and Huron are 2 different teams, but one of the things that could be similar is if Huron gets the ball first Friday night, is that they may try and almost replicate that same type of drive and try and take almost the entire first quarter clock off. And maybe they don't. Maybe they'll try and have some quick strikes and and obviously if the Governors, if you guys stop them in 3 plays or whatever. But I think they're going to maybe try to do something to control the possession. That has to be pretty confident going into next Friday that you've already seen something like this happen for the Governors and able to stand tall and get that turnover on downs. Yeah,
I think on both sides there's a lot of confidence to be had from that. Defensively, just knowing that they won the drive by the end of that first drive. Yes, they took a lot of time off the clock, but they got no points. So the defense got the win on a very important drive where T built some momentum, over the course of that drive. And then offensively, it was really good to see them. The difference when you play those games is every offensive possession means that much more. You're not going to have 12, 15 possessions like you will in some games. So the 8 you have really matter. And for them to respond and for the starters to go 5 of 7, with, again, it should have been 6 of 7. But, I think 5 of 7 is a very good clip to be efficient and to be getting the points on the board that need to be on the board.
And going into this matchup, obviously you go way back to week 2 where the Governors fell 13-7, and we mentioned on Thursday in the post-game show that it's kind of more of a looking at film of just saying, remember what happened in this game. Not so much the game plan itself, because a lot of things have changed for the Governors, some things have changed for the Tigers as well, but it's more of a reminder of what's at stake for this Governor team and kind of extra ammunition. Not that you need it in the playoffs, but it does make the coaches, the players, a little bit even more hungry going into this game Friday night.
Yeah, it does, and I think this group of kids, they wanted this game. They obviously you just want to be playing, but I think they're really excited for a shot at to go back and redeem week 2. And I think that's the fun part of this group is that they want that challenge. They don't want, not that Brookings would have been easy, but they kind of want the hard road. They want to get through the team that beat us to get back to the Dome and back to the ultimate game. So, when you have a group of kids like that makes it a lot of fun, that makes it very exciting. And again, I think we've had a great week of practice so far, and I think we'll be ready Friday.
What stands out to you from this Huron team that maybe is a little bit different? Maybe they've been even better at it as of late. What kind of stands out when you look at film going into Friday?
Yeah, their defense has been very good. I think it's a very tough mindset flip for us because you're going against a T team who was ultra aggressive. Very, very strong in the box, very, pushy with their coverage and, in your face, to a team now that, is kind of keep everything in front, will rally and tackle, and, they want to make you run another play. And then on that play, they want to make you run another play. And, they want you to run out of downs, run out of yards, or make a mistake that causes a turnover. So just a little bit of a mindset flip of last week where we had to be ready for them to be ultra aggressive to this week where, again, it's the semifinals. They could be ultra aggressive too, but the personality of their defense is one that's going to be trying to keep things in front of them.
Obviously, you get a couple more days before Friday, but, every year when you get to this point and what we have been able to do and going into the state championship, you move practice over to the game field. Has that started with the time change of trying to make sure that you can practice how long you want to and how long you need to, and you're not limited by the sunset being at 5:30 now. And then not having a game at Hollister Field on Friday night, have you been able to move over to the game field, and maybe what's the difference or maybe what do you feel different about moving to the game field?
Yeah, we moved over there this week. Usually that's dictated just on when the time change falls. There's years it hasn't fallen until the dome week, but last year, both happened to fall ahead. So we're over there this week. Again, we need the lights to get through the end of practice, and I think it's almost a little teaser on these years because the dome week is always there. We always go down there, and it's a fun week. And state workers may not appreciate it because the music's loud and all that, but it's a really fun week. And this week is a tease because we're not playing music. We're not making it ultra fun. I mean, it should be fun. It's football, but it's not the end yet. So, I think this week is a good little teaser to, hey, this is, it's different. There's a change. We're under the lights and all that. But, you've got to earn the right to really have fun that last week of practice here on Friday.
Well, and we'll talk in the pregame show as well on Friday about being on the road. But it is, you love to play at Hollister Field Friday night in the state semifinal. But obviously, going into this week, you couldn't control that anymore. Once the playoffs were set, you couldn't control if you're going to be at Hollister Field or if you're going to be on the road. But the excitement level of being on the road, because the Governors have done this several times, and last year being one of them, where they've got on the road, got to win against the team, the higher seed to make the state championship. You've done that in other years as well on this run of trying to get to 9 straight state championship appearances. What's the fun of being on the road and the energy level that carries with you on the bus ride compared to then just being at home?
Yeah, well, in all of our semis that we've gone on the road, we've played a team that beat us. And I think that's the appeal to our kids right now is, they want to go right or wrong. They feel not a wrong in terms they beat us, but they want to go and get that out and have the last memory be, hey, we beat you at the end when it mattered. That was what we were fortunate to do in the past in our road games on the semis. And, I think that's the excitement level from our guys as they want to go. And this is a shot at redemption for these guys.
We'll move into the NFL here. We'll talk about Gray Zabel and being able to be on Sunday Night Football, and you got to hear him say, Gray Zabel, North Coast State, which was awesome to hear. Maybe at some point as his career goes along, maybe he'll throw in a peer. Maybe he won't. That's okay. But some of the stats that you continue to see, and for the common fans of football that don't fully pay attention to the offensive line now. Understanding when you're watching a Seahawks game or paying attention to a Seahawks game, you're really seeing what Gray Zabel is able to do and really focusing on the offensive line. Some of the stats that he has had, we were talking a little bit about this morning during the morning show that, the offensive rookie of the year probably doesn't go to an offensive lineman, but if you're going to put one guy into a rookie of the year type of conversation, Gray probably deserves to be in that conversation the way he's played so far this year.
Yeah, and I'm incredibly biased.
We're all biased to it, but
excuse me, but I feel like it's the same conversation as the MVP conversation that last year with Saquon. Jonathan Taylor, every right to be in that conversation this year. Is it a quarterback award? Or is it the best player that means the most to their team? That's the MVP conversation. I feel like the Offensive Rookie of the Year could be very similar to that exact conversation because, in terms of stats on the offensive line, unless you're a Pro Football Focus type person that's going to scour that stuff, there is no stats. There's no. If you go look at stats on ESPN or anything like that, they don't have that. Yeah. So because of that. Does that automatically rule you out from winning this to the position groups that do have stats? Jackson Darts played pretty well. And I think that's what it's going to come down to because, again, if you're looking at purely the offensive rookie, that means the most, to what the team is doing. Their start, if you go back, you can go look at all the Seattle media, Seattle everything. They had an offensive line problem. They did. And what changed?
The 18th overall pick.
The 18th overall pick changed, and they no longer have an offensive line problem.
Yeah.
If you're looking at what truly has made the difference on the Seattle offense, and again, incredibly biased.
Right.
But again, they have other pieces too. Torrey Horton had a great game, a couple touchdowns. I think Arroyo scored one too. That was a blowout game. But it's not all one person, but at the same point, that person made a profound difference, and not just necessarily on the stat sheet.
He's at least got to be in the conversation of an All-Pro right away.
All-Pro, Pro Bowl, definitely.
Because those are those specific spots to be an All-Pro. He can be the best at his position and get the award that is deserved to him, whether, again, Offensive Rookie of the Year, probably not an MVP going to an offensive lineman anytime soon, but some of those things that he just probably won't be in the conversation because of his job. But really, those All-Pro and Pro Bowl spots, it's going to be hard. Again, we're biased, and we're not afraid to admit we're biased, but boy, he's looked really good.
He has, and again, the coolest thing about Gray is that he doesn't care. If he doesn't get that and they have a great season and go to the Super Bowl and win it, it's not going to bother him one bit that he didn't get Rookie of the Year or whatever else. He's more busted up that they lost 2 games than he is that anything else that anyone would say. So, and again, that's one of the reasons he's such a great player. And again, I think hopefully we can keep him healthy, and hopefully he has a nice long career at it.
All right, Coach Slice says we got to get to one more thing. It's the new Mount Rushmore question from Coach Slice. It is the Halloween was last week, and I forgot to ask you this last week.
Darn!
I was so focused on playoff football that I forgot to ask this. But wants to know the Mount Rushmore of Halloween candy.
Oh, Halloween candy, huh?
And so
essentially candy.
Yeah, candy, but specifically for Halloween. That you think about this type of candy when it comes to Halloween, because some of his answers make sense. He doesn't like the candy, but he put that on the Mount Rushmore because the candy was there.
So this has nothing to do with what I like.
I mean, yeah. Let's not go with what you like, but what you just associate Halloween candy.
All right, well, candy corn's got to be on there.
That was one of it. That's the one that he had, because you don't like candy corn.
I love candy corn.
You love candy corn? Okay.
Especially if you get it with some peanuts. It's fantastic.
Well, DT brought that in a lot over the course of
really good.
years. It was really hard
to stop. But either way,
again,
it's a kind of just like a pumpkin spice thing. It's a seasonal.
Right,
I probably would not enjoy candy corn in March.
Well, that's true, yeah.
So anyways, that would fit, I think, what you're going for. Reese's Pumpkins.
I see. He had Reese's Pieces and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, but Reese's Pumpkins.
I mean, that's specifically to that, right?
Yeah, and I could eat those all day. Would I eat a Reese's Pumpkin in March? Probably would, if it's still good. But I would definitely, Reese's himself is just good.
I honestly can't think of any other, seasonal ones. I really,
and
because most of them are just. Again, you go and they're giving candy out. It's just generic candy.
Maybe what you think is the most popular candy that your kids
Kit Kats.
Kit
Kats were a popular one. I have 3.
You have 3, yeah.
So I don't know what the other one is.
How many presidents are on Mount Rushmore?
We have 4 here.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
I know you're trying to get me to put a sub one in again.
No.
I don't even know. We go Tootsie Roll. Not Tootsie Rolls, the Fruity Rolls.
The Fruity Rolls.
That's the other one I would go with.
That's a good one, because I think that one always pops up around Halloween. You don't see them at any point during the year, but around Halloween.
You get the 4,000 bag at Walmart. Yeah.
And it's much cheaper than the regular Tootsie Rolls. So he had candy corn, Tootsie Pops, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups with Reese's Pieces, and 3 Musketeers. Because he also says nobody ever eats these except for on Halloween.
I would disagree with 3 Musketeers. The other one, that was a good one, though. The other ones were good ones.
Yeah.
I would give them
it was, pretty similar. Obviously, candy corn is exactly the same thing.
Candy corn was one no matter what. In terms of what you think of candy-wise, if that's not number 1, you're lying.
Well, it's just like, a pumpkin pie or just pie in general. You think Thanksgiving right away.
Yep.
Right away, yeah. There is zero.
You wouldn't order a pumpkin pie in March.
Right,
You'd order it in November.
Right, yeah. And some of those things that, even if you don't like a pumpkin pie, you still associate pumpkin pie with being on the Mount Rushmore of Thanksgiving. So, all right, we'll go back here and wrap things up. Coming up Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll have it here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Pierre versus here on the 11AA state semifinal. Biggest key for the Pierre Governors to make sure they get the win Friday nights.
Overall, we got to win the red zone. We've got to make sure we score when we get the opportunities down there. And, when they get down there, they're a team that struggled in the red zone as well. And, so if we win the red zone battle, I think we'll be playing another week. Well,
Coach, hey, appreciate the time as always. It's always fun talking to you, whether we're doing Mount Rushmores or not.
You didn't ask AI what is a Halloween candy. That would have been the exact duplicate of the last time when we had to ask it what a sandwich was.
Well, and you only gave me 4 answers instead of 5.
That's because AI and you disagreed on what constituted a sandwich. Now you realize that
4 presidents are on Mount Rushmore instead of 5. Appreciate the time. It is good talking to you. Good luck Friday. We'll talk to you in the pregame show coming up on Friday.
Thanks, John.
That is head coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors. I promise that he continues to enjoy being on Coach's Corner. We've got more Coach's Corner on the way next here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
Score big on your next vehicle purchase with Lamb Motor Company in Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre. Check out their large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs at any one of their locations, or go online to lambmotor.com. That's LAMBMOTOR.com. Or give them a call today at 800-952-2222. Lamb Motor Company of Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
Did you know it is important for your child to see the dentist at the time their first tooth erupt? A healthy smile begins at birth, and there are many variables, from healthy eating habits to good oral hygiene and routine dental care. Hi, I am Dr. Michelle Hofer. At Missouri River Dentistry, we enjoy working with people of all ages. Dentistry is our profession, but people are our focus. I invite families to come experience an office that uses the latest techniques and equipment to be sure you receive that healthy and happy smile. To schedule your appointments for your family, call us at 223-2021. Kids love us, parents trust us.
That's a clown question, bro.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Linda DeBoer of the Miller Rustlers as they are set to play on Thursday against Chamberlain in the Region 6A SODAC 16 qualifying game. Coach, it's good to talk to you again here this year. And another team for this Miller Rustler squad, 22-7 through the regular season, getting ready for your first postseason game. Let's talk about your team before we start talking about Thursday. What's been exciting about this team? What's been really fun about this team through the first 29 games of the year?
You know, I think it's our leadership. We, our core group is seniors and returning lettermen, and they bring a lot of, expertise, I want to say, to the court. I mean, they're veterans and they know what they're doing on the court, and so that's really fun to see them all work together. And another thing is our younger girls are contributing and bringing about a little more balance offensively and defensively to our squad this year. And so it's been pretty successful in the way that they've all blended together and are playing right now.
You know, it's the fun of every season is sometimes you have a whole bunch of seniors, sometimes you're very, very young, but that mix and that blend of having the old girls with the young girls and being able, and like you said, being able to complement each other really makes life as a coach easier as the year goes on, but also kind of keeps you at ease knowing that the next year and the year after that, there's a lot of really good players that'll still be coming through Miller and still be playing for the Rustlers.
Yeah, the old expression is that tradition never graduates, and it is exciting to see these younger girls fill the role and the expectations of what we're trying to do again this year. And it's a good combination this year of young and old, and I think that it's leading to part of our success, and we're just trying to reload like we do every year. I always like to say we're reloading and not rebuilding every year after we lose some seniors. So the future still looks bright for Miller Volleyball.
Well, you've won 9 in a row heading into the postseason, and when you look at your schedule over the course of facing, different Class A and Class B teams, in Class A, there's only maybe one team that you've lost to all season. You've been able to beat a lot of other Class A teams. This is you don't shy away throughout an entire year of playing some really good volleyball teams. Obviously, sometimes you can only play who's on the schedule. Sometimes it just doesn't work out to maybe play those top teams, and you don't necessarily maybe see them like you maybe would another year. But this Miller team, the 22-7 record, it's not just playing the bottom teams of every region. You're playing a lot of best teams in both Class A and B throughout the entire season.
Yeah, we did that again this year. We are very fortunate that we have a great administration and good ADs here to work with, and they've always tried to get us a very, very competitive schedule. And being where we're located in the middle of the state, that schedule lends itself to some of the top B teams and some of the top A teams. And with the addition of the Pentagon tournament this year and going down there and seeing Sioux Falls Christian and Western Christian and some different teams this year was really good for our squad.
Going into this into Thursday, you Chamberlain in the matchup to get to the SODAC 16. You've seen them once already. Were you able to watch most of that game Tuesday, or was it we're going to worry about ourselves and not worry about necessarily? We'll break down the film going into today and then be ready to go for Thursday. What was kind of the feeling of that game Tuesday, and if you're able to watch any of it, or maybe keep the girls focused on the Miller Rustlers?
Yeah, number one focus is always what's going on our side of the court, both offensively and defensively. But I did watch the match last night with Crow Creek and Chamberlain. And so we picked up a few things I think that we can work on today in practice. They played very well last night, I thought, and served a lot better last night than they did in our earlier match. And looked like they were running a couple different things that we will talk about today. So it was good to see them and how they've changed and how they've improved since our last meeting.
Well, and that was going to be the kind of the next question is, you played them on September 30th, and now being, November 6th when you played them again right now, November 5th. And that there's a lot that can change from both the Miller side and the Chamberlain side. And I'm sure that you have seen now a different team on film than what you saw in person on that September 30th.
Yeah, I would say that they are peaking at the right time, and hopefully we are too. It's been the season always goes so quickly, I think, and we get into our Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday play-in tournament schedule, and you don't always have these few days to prepare like we do right now to prepare for regions because we didn't play Tuesday night, and so we've taken that opportunity and been working hard in the gym so that we are ready for tomorrow night.
And at this point of the season, obviously, you probably looked at the Region 6A standings as the year went on, seeing just where everything was kind of falling, because you knew you had to win in that Region 6A to get the SODAC 16. Have you peeked at the Class A standings? Have you looked at it as the year has gone on, or are you trying to stay away from that, knowing that, whatever, sitting at number 8 right now, that may not make a difference when in time, you can't fall below number 8 if you win on Thursday, but you could still move up. Do you watch the Class A full standings as the year goes on?
I do every once in a while take a peek at it, and, we've fluctuated quite a bit. I think we were as high as 4 one time and maybe went as low as 14, 15, 16 in there. So I peek at it every once in a while, but I try not to get too far ahead of myself and just take it a match at a time, because with the game of volleyball, you just never know what's going to happen on a Tuesday or Thursday night. And so there's a lot of great matchups tomorrow night, and it'll be interesting to see how it all turns out.
And we did mention Chamberlain, but a little bit more in depth about them. What do you expect from them? I know you said they served a lot better. They look a lot crisper overall. What do you expect from them offensively going into tomorrow night? That you got to make sure defensively that you're ready to go for it.
Yeah, I think they were running a more effective offense against Crow Creek last night than they did against us a month or more ago. And so we've got to be ready for all of their offensive options that they have and that more consistent serving that I saw last night in their game. So hopefully we can counteract that with our own good first ball contact and serving well and defending well.
And obviously, if you win, you're in the SODAC 16 next Tuesday. But all those different locations everywhere else that you might end up playing. So being able to be at home though, and kind of seeing that being the last home game of the season now for Miller, how important is it to be at home? How nice is it to be play at the Miller Armory?
It's quite an atmosphere in there. Our community supports us very well, and so I'm expecting a large crowd to cheer on the girls tomorrow night. And I can't honestly remember the last time we lost a game in the Armory, so hopefully we can keep that going. I think somebody tried to tell me the other day it's been over 5 years since we've lost at home, so hopefully we can keep that win streak going.
Yeah, it is a very tough place to play when you're an opponent traveling to Miller, and of course, that probably extends into that, having the atmosphere, having the good crowd, having the players amped up. That those starts are very important, but one that when they go Miller's way, that Miller is a can build off of a good start.
Exactly, that's what we like to do, and. I've had several girls on the team this year that have been in this situation the last 3 years and been in a SODAC championship match qualifier and then made it onto state. And so hopefully our experience with all of that will serve us well tomorrow night also.
All right, well, we'll start to wrap things up here, Coach. As we talk with Linda DeBoer, the head coach of the Miller Rustlers, they take on Chamberlain tomorrow night. It'll be a 7 o'clock first serve for the Miller Armory, and that opportunity, a win from either one of those teams, they will advance to the SODAC 16 next Tuesday. But, Coach, for the Miller Rustlers, what's the biggest key to make sure that Miller wins tomorrow night and gets to that SODAC 16?
I think there's a few. I think we have to serve well and serve a little better than we have our last few matches and get that serving percentage up. We also have a big focus on our first ball contact, whether that be that first serve or that pass or that dig, just trying to be very disciplined in having a good first ball contact. And then I think we're really well balanced, and that makes it hard for teams to defend. And so I think our balance with our offensive weapons has to also show up tomorrow night.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate it. It's fun talking to you again. Looking forward to the game tomorrow night. And, of course, as the Miller Rustlers keep winning, we'll keep talking to you. Looking forward to maybe having a couple more conversations before we get to the end of the volleyball season. Coach, I appreciate the time, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
That is head coach Linda DeBoer of the Miller Rustlers. Back with more Coaches Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
This fall, take some time to think about your future while the leaves make their way down to earth and the last sunset of summer leaves us with an autumn chill. It's time to grab the nearest foam finger and break out the face paint. Rush the stands with First Dakota National Bank and forget how to blink. Fall sports are back with jaw-dropping plays, an electric atmosphere, and epic scores. Make some noise with First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakotanationalbank.com. Member FDIC.
Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through every season. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. They have fully trained ASE certified mechanics on staff, ready to handle it for you. From brakes and bearings to alignments and front ends. Let their experience work for you. Over 50 years combined means you can count on them. So if it's time for a transmission flush or even a simple oil change, the only name you need to know is Graham Tire, 421 West Sioux Avenue in Pierre.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
You like that? You like that?
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capital Boys varsity team as we start to close in on the beginning of the 2025-26 hockey season. Coach, you had a chance to play some preseason games in Aberdeen a couple weekends ago. Let's first talk a little bit about that, because it's your first chance to see, obviously guys have graduated and moved on. Some bantams have moved up to JV varsity ranks, and you're able to kind of see exactly what a lot of these guys are, or maybe what they did over the summer. Talk a little bit about this past the 2 weekends ago when you're able to watch them play.
Yeah, we were a little optimistic going into the weekend, trying to see what we were going to have this year. I know we talked a lot last year about just a huge growth year. We were doing a lot of development. We had a lot of kids that were going to be returning this following season, and wanted to make sure that we were in a really good position there. It hurts losing those seniors from last year, and we had some good weapons there, whether it was a defensive force or a goalie or a goal scorer of any mind. And so being able to fill those roles is a huge piece. But as the weekend went on, we were really pleased with how everything went. We had our highs and we had our lows, but the best part about it was just how we responded when things weren't going our way at times, and how do we respond compared to last year. And we saw a lot more growth. We saw a lot more maturity, and we're ready to go back out and bounce back after maybe a tough break or maybe a goal scored against us and whatnot, and we responded well. And so it was really promising there. And yeah, we talked about having bantams coming up. We ended up taking 26 or 27 players to play throughout the whole weekend. We had a few different state tournaments going on, so we had kids there one day and not the other, and so we were able to see kind of everybody get out there and kind of show what they've got. And we've got a lot of good youth coming up, and we really look forward to the season with everyone we got.
And that's one of the things that you and I talked about a lot over the course of last year, and you mentioned it, a lot of fresh faces, or kind of a building year for the Capitals last year, because it wasn't not just some guys getting and there was a lot of guys getting their first varsity games. There was a lot of guys that played their first JV and varsity games in the same year. When you graduated 13 seniors the year before, you come in with having a few guys that actually had varsity experience. There was a lot of growth that could be coming from the Capitals, and we saw the growth happen throughout the course of the year. But I got to feel, without seeing any film from that weekend, that you definitely like what you saw in terms of growth from a lot of those guys that are returning this year.
Yeah, absolutely. What our goals were last season, and maybe not always seeing the result being a win or the goal happening last year, was okay. It was still about what we were trying to accomplish and what were the type of positions that we were trying to kind of sustain and things like that. And this year we were able to kind of see it in the whole puzzle basically come all together, and it was really cool to see. And that makes it a lot easier for young kids coming in to be able to just jump in and be able to kind of help fill in those roles, because if it's just another rebuild year where you have only 2-3 kids with experience, even in the varsity game, it's hard. It's a really challenging piece, and so you have to really start at the bottom and kind of work your way up. And now we get to start more in the middle there versus all the way back at the bottom. And so we're going to see a lot more consistency throughout this season, and hopefully the results continue to go in the right direction of wins and goals and points and all of that. So.
Again, talking with Coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals. The boys will start their season. The girls will also start their season the same day and in the same location. But for the talking about the boys team, November 22nd, that Saturday, they'll be in Mitchell Saturday night, and then in Aberdeen the following day on that Sunday against the Aberdeen Cougars. When you look at the schedule, Coach, there is a lot of road games prior to the turn of the calendar into 2026. However, that does mean that the back half of the season is filled with a lot of home games. Once you hit January 10th, you have about half the season left, and you got 2 road games the remainder of all of January and you have 3 road games all of 2026 to finish out the regular season. What's the benefit of maybe playing a lot of games early on the road and having that back half of the season all at home?
Well, there's 2 things to it. I mean, we stress all the time about just being a really good hockey team come the end of the season. And so if you're trying to build growth, it starts at the beginning, and whatever challenges come your way, you have to learn how to basically overcome those. And the lucky thing we have, and I've stressed already, is that we have a lot of experience returning. And so to be able to go on the road early on and have to play in a lot of different hockey rinks that aren't our own, and maybe not having the whole fan support there for us, it really is good to have that experience already, so that those younger guys, they aren't overwhelmed in that position. And, you know, it's going to be a big test early on. We've got 2 teams that we competed really, really hard last year with, between Mitchell and Aberdeen. And we've already gotten to see Aberdeen this year, and we feel really confident with those games. I mean, we're both teams that are pretty balanced throughout, and it's just about going and competing as hard as you possibly can and continuing to develop every single shift that you go out there and grow in that way. And so we feel really confident there. And after that, yeah, we've got another, I think it was about 6 away games after that. A few weekends in a row. Go to Sioux Falls, a little bit different than most years. Normally we do that at the end of the year, and we look forward to that test early on and being able to go out there and kind of just prove who the Owyhee Capitals are this season and try to make a statement early on. I mean, if we win or lose, we know where we're at then. If we lose that game, we know what we need to work on. If we win it, great, and we can build off of that. But either way is going to be a great development piece for us, and kind of grow us into the back half of the season where we want to be playing our best hockey, and it'll be awesome to be able to play it in front of all of our fans.
Well, your Capital team, you returned Dylan Dotson, who had the leading point getter both in goals and assists from last year. Aiden Beam, who was 3rd on the team in points. Tridon Parmley, who was 4th of the team in points, all returned. So 3 of your top 4 point getters are coming back for another year. Obviously, Keegan Kitts being the guy that does graduate. But looks like a lot of balance coming into the season. Obviously, Dotson, who had the most points, probably a guy that might be, especially early on, leaned on heavily. But there can be a lot of balance for what this team can bring, and not just maybe 1 goal scorer, maybe not even just 2 goal scorers. There could be a lot of guys that can fill up the score sheet this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we played 3 games 2 weeks ago, and we had 6 different goal scorers. We had 10 different guys with points. And so right there already shows you that balance that we're looking for. I think last year was one of those years that you leaned a lot on Keegan Kitts. You leaned a lot on Dylan Dotson to go out there and find a way to get us on the scoreboard, and you leaned on the other guys to kind of help protect us on the back half of the game. But this year, I feel like, truthfully, from your top line to your bottom line, you have the consistency in the guys that are understanding what their role is. And we talk a lot about those bottom half lines going out there and competing every single shift. 1, to be able to keep fighting to have more opportunities in a game. 2, prove yourself on the defensive side of the game. And 3, we always say the cherry on top is finding a way to get the puck into the back of the net as well. And we're going to see that. We're going to see a lot of our kind of 3rd group, 4th group going out that will be able to still produce those points and be really effective on wearing down a hockey team in our defensive zone, neutral zone area.
Jackson Youngworth, your goalie last year, graduated. I think he started every single game. A couple of guys, Sam Schosberg and Noah Eaton, got a chance to play a little bit in relief. But you have a lot of goalies, which is a good and bad problem to have sometimes when you have that many goalies to be in the JV varsity ranks, and making sure all guys get some playing time, able to be able to kind of you kind of dealt with that last year too with having the amount of goalies that you did. Again, the benefit of having all those different guys, especially this last weekend, maybe you got a chance to see a lot of these guys in action. What was kind of the takeaway from what the goalie side of things could be for the Capitals?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of chuckle because it is crazy. I mean, you got 5 goalies and you have basically you look at it as two positions, your JV game and your varsity game, and only 2 guys are really playing those games. And so when we went to Aberdeen 2 weeks ago, I had told somebody, yep, we're taking 5 goalies, and their jaw dropped. And I go, I want to be able to see what they all have. And to be able to compete against that varsity level and see all those shots coming at them is one of the truest tests that you'll ever get. And so, we feel really confident with what we have, and we trust all 5 guys to be able to go out there in whatever game it is and be able to produce for us and really be our backbone of the team and kind of stand on top of their head is kind of what we always say, and just kind of make those crazy saves and support us with the just consistency of being able to block the first save and trusting your team after that. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be a really good test for everybody. Last year we kind of developed 4 JV goalies, basically trying to just produce them and getting them as much playing time as possible. And this season might be a little different. It might not be where you have 2 goalies playing each game, just trying to get some extra time on the ice and be able to get more puck touches and whatever that might be. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're really looking forward to it with all 5.
Again, the season here for the Hawaii Capitals, which will begin on Saturday, November 22nd in Mitchell. Of course, those games are on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. Just missed the state tournament last year, and you look at what the Capitals did, and of course the schedule doesn't pull up for me as I'm trying to look at things overall. But a team that you got a couple wins against Sioux Center. You had won 4 in a row at one point, but some of those losses that were close and some of those opportunities that maybe just didn't quite go the Capitals' way. Obviously, from start to finish, maybe the emphasis of winning games early on in the season is something maybe big, because the Capitals have every opportunity to get right back in the state tournament this year and had every chance to be in the state tournament last year too. But for this group, every opportunity to be right back in the thick of the state tournament coming up at in March.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can just tell the difference in the mindsets this year just compared to last year, and that's nothing against our senior group of last year. It's more just that we had so much youth and we just didn't have a lot of experience, and so our goals were maybe a little bit lower. Our overall goal is, you make state and you're trying to compete for a championship, but we had other goals in mind that we needed to make sure that we were progressing on, and it wasn't just the result of how the game ended up, but just kind of the progress we wanted to see by each player, and maybe trying to get a little bit better understanding of the game, and along with that is just building more skill for each kid, and we saw that, and we're already seeing it this year. I've talked with multiple people. We've got kids that are trying to just get ice time every single night, trying to get out there as much as they possibly can just to get themselves a little bit more time before season to get themselves prepared. And we've got a large group of our kids that are jumping out on the ice at any given moment just trying to get a little bit better. And we saw this weekend, I mean, just the growth that they had, just even from last year, the maturity of every kid and the discipline on them to kind of respond to sometimes that negativity, and how to not really kind of mope around about it, but bounce back and respond. And we really feel like it's going to be a good season. And last year might have been a little bit more of a question mark to make state. We're not looking at trying to make state. We're looking at trying to be in a good position to go and try to win a state championship by the end of the season.
Again, talking with Coach Landon Badger here of the Hawaii Capitals. All right, we'll start to wrap things up here. Mitchell and Aberdeen, I know we're 2.5 weeks away from starting the regular season, but a big weekend, a big early test against teams that have made the state tournament, trying to build something for their programs as well. Biggest key for this Capitals team to go out and get a couple wins against Mitchell and Aberdeen coming up that first weekend of the season.
Bring the intensity that we've been bringing at every practice. If we can do that, I think everything's going to go the right way. Win your 50-50 puck battles, and you start to gain more possession of the puck throughout the game. And we don't forget about how the games went last year with both of those teams. Both two really respectful teams. I mean, we had really good battles with both of them, just didn't ever come out on top, and so we're going to make sure that doesn't happen again. And these kids are prepared for that. They're hungry. It's kind of what the saying is anymore. They're hungry and ready to go, and we look forward to it.
Coach, I appreciate the time as always. It's good talking to you. It's good to be able to talk some hockey because I'm excited for the season coming up. Looking forward to it, and we'll see you on that Saturday, November 22nd to start the season.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
That is head coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals. We'll return with more Coaches Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota in Pierre is proud to sponsor today's game. Whether you're in the market for a brand new Ford, Lincoln, or Toyota, or a quality pre-owned vehicle, our team is here to get you back on the road in style. From tough trucks to family SUVs, we've got the selection you need and the hometown service you deserve. Browse online anytime at CapitalCityFordToyota.com. Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, where community drives us forward.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Let me talk to you.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
Yeah.
Back here inside the KCCR studios as we wrap up another edition of Coach's Corner for another week here in the month of November, starting off the month of November. We want to thank our coaches and head coach Steve Steele of the Pierre Governors, head coach Landon DeBoer of the Miller Rustlers, and head coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capital Boys varsity squad. As we get farther into the playoffs, and of course you can check out Pierre Governor football right here on KCCR Friday night. Coverage at 6:30, 7 o'clock kickoff, and if you want to watch, you can head over to YouTube at KCCR Sports, and you can check it out as well there and watch that game from our perspective, from the YouTube perspective, and video brought to you by us here at KCCR. On the way, coming up here as we get farther into the weekend, we will have Thursday Night Football tomorrow night, the Raiders and the Broncos. We've got playoff football on Friday. We've got a couple of college football games coming up on Saturday, which includes the number 2 team in the country and a top 25 matchup in those two games that we have for you on KCCR. Then 3 NFL games on Sunday, and of course Monday Night Football to round out the week ahead and moving into that week of the second week of November. And again, don't forget, we will have coverage on Friday of Pierre football, but also talking about the Hawaii Capitals here today. Their season starts 2.5 weeks from today on that Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. The boys and girls will play in Mitchell on Saturday. They'll both be in Aberdeen on Sunday, and we'll have all 4 games for you on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. Looking forward to it. It's what a fun weekend this is going to be. Can't wait for Friday to get here for the 11AA semifinal. Can't wait for the playoff volleyball to reach that next step. There's so much fun happening right now here in the state of South Dakota. And, of course, here on KCCR with all the college football, with all the NFL. The World Series did wrap up. What a tremendous World Series it was that wrapped up last weekend. Just fantastic stuff. And it's all here on KCCR. You can check out game recaps on our website at kccrradio.com. We'll have scores as well, the scoreboard for Friday night especially, but also for Thursday volleyball, moving into the Sodak 16 next week as well. All of that will be available on kccrradio.com. Thanks again to our coaches. Another edition of Coach's Corner is wrapped up. We'll be here same time, same place next week, Wednesday, here on KCCR, online at kccrradio.com. And if you missed any part of the show tonight, you can head over to YouTube at KCCR Sports and check out the video archive of our Coach's Corner segments, and it's all there on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night. We'll see you next week here on KCCR.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR, presented by the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection. Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com is also brought to you by Bank West, Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Todd's Electric, Owyhee Federal Credit Union, Shane's Pharmacy, Missouri River Dentistry, CHS River Plains, Edward Jones Financial, Thording Electric, First Dakota National Bank, Gales Gas, and Lamb Motors. Join us each Wednesday at 5:30 on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com for more Coach's Corner. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South Dakota's sports leader.